We're going to do the sky. We're going to use a technique from Patricia Carmichael from pmartiststudio. And we're going to use this stencil, Coffee Rings Uncle Joe. We're going to use the Golden Open because I like it for this technique better. And we're going to use titanium white and a little bit of Payne's Gray, mostly titanium white. And this is going to be our first layer for the sky. I'm going to take the stencil, I'm going to just lay it randomly. I'm going to run my brayer right over the top of it. Pull it up. And I'm pressing pretty hard. I have 3 layers of stencils that I have cut, and they work together, and I cut these myself. These are my design. So here's the first one, and this is going to be my lightest value. This is my second value, and then this will be my darkest value. Let's start with this one first, and then I'm going to take my titanium white, and I want this to be my lightest value, remember. So I'm using more white to my Payne's Gray. So because I want to work wet into wet, I'm going to pull this before it's really quite ready. Very light, very subtle, but you can still see it. I'm ready for my value, my second value. This time I'm going to use Payne's Gray, a little bit of white, and I'm just going to add a hint of carbon black. Now remember, this print is still damp. It's still actually pretty wet. So that's going to blend with that paint on my gel plate. Third layer, and it's just Payne's Gray. Pull that off. Here are a few different options for you, and I have a number of different prints that I did. This is the one that I just showed you. This is option number 2. So here's one. I added a lot of extra white to this one to kind of tone it all down. Here's another one. And then this one, I love the way you've got this little white that's kind of looking like it's radiating up. We want to have a very, very light gray-green for our foreground. So I'm going to add just a bit of Payne's Gray and a hint of green gold. And I don't want this smoothed out perfectly. I kind of want to see the variation in color. I'm going to take a clean piece of deli paper. This crinkle method just gives a little texture to our foreground. I'm going to lay that right down over the top of all this. All those wrinkles to get that texture onto my gel plate. Okay, pull it off. I like to have the white kind of show through. It lightens up everything. We are going to mix Payne's Gray and Van Dyke Brown I'm actually going to mix these right here on the plate. This should make a dark brown with a bluish tinge to it. You can see little hints of blue in there. Okay, I just pulled that print. I'm going to take iridescent bright gold, a little bit of green gold to it. Brayer this out. Then I'm going to take little pieces of deli paper that I have ripped into random sections. And I'm just going to randomly place this down onto my gel plate. Okay, let's see if this did anything interesting as I pull these off. Oh, yeah, I think that's going to be cool. So, I'm going to put that right down over top of this brown. A little bit of paint left on my plate, but look what it did. I like the randomness of the pattern. This is where I'm at right now with this. I took one of those papers that I gel printed the clouds with. I took my foreground paper, and this paper is going to become my rocks. My favorite decoupage glue, which is Deco Art Decoupage. And I glued all of these pieces onto my canvas. I love old trees and skylines, so this was the reference photo that I used for this project. So now it was time to add the tree. Here are the finished canvases of this landscape. Background, foreground, and of course the tree. The tree was added two different ways. After I sketched out the tree, I cut a stencil and I just stenciled the tree on. I also added, as you can see, some detail on my rocks and added some grass to my foreground. The second way, I went for just the tree. This is actually cut out of stencil material, but I actually cut this because I just wanted the outline of the tree. Again, added some detail on my rocks. And then this one I just left the foreground. So let's compare the two for just a moment. They look very similar, although I've reversed the trees here. Rocks are slightly different. I didn't add as many rocks to this one, and I also didn't add the greenery. Stenciled or cut out on my brother's Scan and Cut. You decide, which one do you like better? Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video.